Jessica. Some of you guys might know me from like speech or home ec, or if you guys have read the newspaper. And some of you guys might not know me, and that's cool. But as Sam said, something I like to share about myself is that I like to dance. I dance classical ballet. I do point, which is like when you're on your like tippy toes and stuff. And I've been dancing since I was 3. And I'm not the best dancer in the world, but you know, I really like to do it. And it's something that is probably one of my biggest passions. But as Sam said, I'm a junior. And if I'm gonna be honest with you, my junior year kind of hit me like a truck. And I think a lot of juniors can agree. What happened, like going into junior year and during the first semester was kind of crazy and unpredictable and a little bit scary. And so amidst all that craziness, I actually made the decision to leave ballet. It was only supposed to be a temporary break until, you know, I get everything settled out. But when I made the decision to leave ballet, I was heartbroken. I was really sad. But the reason why I was so sad actually stemmed from something a little bit more personal. And so when I was asked to, and I didn't really talk about it when I mentioned to people that, oh yeah, I'm taking a break from ballet. And so when I was asked to do gab talks, immediately I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. But then I thought about it and I was like, maybe not. But, because it's something that is kind of hard to think about, let alone talk about. But I'm gonna share it anyway, so. But before I start, let me just backtrack a little bit. Growing up, I always felt like I didn't really cope well with emotions. Like, they felt exaggerated when I knew that they didn't need to be. Like, I'd be feeling this and I'd be like, why are you doing that? That's so weird. And I thought, you know, Jessica, it's okay. You're a teenager. Maybe you're just extremely hormonal. But entering middle school, it got kind of bad. And then entering high school, it got uncontrollable. And got so bad that during the spring of my sophomore year, my doctor noticed something was off. And so he recommended that I go see a therapist. And that was when I was told that I have an anxiety disorder. Some of you guys might be thinking, what? No. Or some might be thinking, oh yeah, that explains a lot. But for anyone who's unfamiliar or not sure exactly what an anxiety disorder is, I have a definition from Hank Green from the Vlogbrothers. Where is it? Okay, hold on. Nah. Wait, I found it. Okay, it's being continually tense and apprehensive, experiencing unfocused, negative, and out of control feelings. And sometimes this anxiety elevates to the point where I get what's called an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And it's kind of different from the anxiety we all face, like from school or work or stress or whatever. But I thought of a metaphor. So normally, when there's a fire, someone would pull the alarm, and then it would ring, and then everyone would be like, yes, that is a fire. I will react to it. But when I have a panic attack, it's kind of like that one kid who thinks it's hilarious to pull off the fire alarm when nothing's going on, and so it's just ringing, and you're like, what do I do? And so a panic attack is basically your body's physical reaction to your anxiety. And for when you get one, you know. When I get panic attacks, it starts with like a rock in my chest that keeps like beating and beating and beating. And then my breath becomes short. And then I start to hyperventilate. And then I start to shake. And I actually develop a stutter. And I can't speak. And then my stomach feels nauseous, and then you get like this general whoosh like you're losing it. And then, so these would last in like 15-minute intervals, and they can go on for like hours, just one after the other. And then afterwards, you just feel like mud, and you don't want to do anything. And sometimes these can happen from like small things like school, or like if someone says something mean to me and I didn't know how to react to it. But other times they can just come out of nowhere. And it's unfortunate to say that these kind of happen frequently. And you know, the panic attacks themselves are pretty scary, but what I found scarier is that like actual people telling you that like this is a thing, that, because no one wants to hear like you have a disorder, or let me recommend you to these doctors, or I don't think the therapy is working, we're gonna have to try something else. And you know, they're gonna tell you firsthand, I don't want you to feel like you're going crazy, but you know, you can't help but feel that way. And so that's kind of why I left ballet. Not only was school pretty busy, but I just felt too discouraged, like I didn't really amount to anything anymore. And I hated going to therapy. I hated talking about my feelings. It was really gross. And I was angry. I was angry at my friends, even though they didn't do anything and even though they didn't know anything. And I felt guilty for making my parents go through all of this. And ever since that doctor's appointment, I kind of just went to school, did my thing, and I couldn't just wait to go home and just cry and not move and not be near anyone. And even during the summer, like, it was supposed to be the summer before my junior year, and I was not feeling it. And a lot of times I refused to get out of bed because I was just so scared. And I was frustrated because I knew that this whole thing, this what's going on, it wasn't me. And now that I realized it, leaving ballet was a really stupid idea, because when I was at my lowest, that's when I needed ballet the most. And it was a nice attempt at trying to figure out my life, but it was really stupid. And let me tell you, it was pretty exhausting. I mean, you know, we're already busy with so many things, but trying to do my classes, take my extracurriculars, look socially appealing. And on top of that, I had to suppress my emotions because I felt like if I let my guard down, that's it, I'm done. And you know, my therapist asked me like, Jessica, why do you want to be perfect? And I told her, I don't want to be perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I let mean things slip every once in a while. I'm really short. Sometimes I have bad skin. And I'm sitting in a therapist's office, so obviously I'm not perfect. But as this anxiety kind of consumed me more and more, I realized she was kind of right. I didn't want to be perfect, but I definitely wanted to look like that person who was put together or had it all figured out and wasn't fazed by anything. And I tried really hard not to seem like I was breaking on the inside. And that's when I told myself that being sad was a really big waste of my time, and trying to be perfect was really overrated. And so, from what's happened in my life right now, I've learned to make choices for me.